Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good, and we love talking about mentorship. We're honored to be joined by Melissa Hudson-Gant, CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee. How are you doing?
Jeremy, I'm doing okay today. Thank you so much for having us here. Appreciate the good that you are inspiring and building in our community.
Well, likewise, you all do tremendous good. And so let's start with a little bit of background. When you talk about Big Brothers Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee, give us a little bit of history, and then we'll talk all about the amazing work you do around mentorship.
Absolutely. So Big Brothers Big Sisters as a national organization was founded more than 100 years ago as an alternative to the juvenile justice system. Community leaders saw young boys who were making some bad choices because they didn't have the adult guidance and support that they needed. And so rather than send them into a system from which they were likely not to emerge, they decided to create a mentoring program. And from that, Big Brothers Big Sisters, a worldwide movement was born. In Middle Tennessee, there were a group of caring leaders who cared about our young boys and saw the opportunity to invest in them. And so in 1969, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee was created. And somewhere along the way, they recognized that young women could value from mentorship as well. And so here we are, 54 years later, we have invested in more than 25,000 lives through the power of mentorship. Our roots run deep, and we can see the impact of mentoring in leaders in our community in all aspects of life.
Absolutely. I love it. And just like you mentioned, all of us benefit from having mentors. And when you look at the success of anyone, whether it's in business, community, nonprofit, education, faith, whatever it is, it's all around mentorship and adults pouring in and paying it forward so that the next generation learns and can become even more equipped to be even more successful. And so talk about how the magic works, because it is matching. You have bigs and littles and adults and youth. And so talk about how it works.
I'm so glad you asked that question, because just because you put two human beings in a room doesn't mean that they're going to dig each other. So it's part art, part science. We are a professionally supported one-to-one mentoring organization. That professional support comes from our team of highly experienced social workers, folks who have been in the youth development space for many years. And what we do is we take a lot of time to recruit, background check, and screen and train the volunteer to serve as a mentor. We really get to know who they are, and we make sure we're getting the right adults in the system. And then we spend an equal amount of time getting to know that young person and who they are, what their personality is, their interests, who they aspire to be. And we make a best bet match between those two people, between the adult and the young person. So as an example, if we had a really extroverted adult and we put them together with a very introverted young person, those two probably aren't going to like each other. If we have an adult who really digs playing chess and we have a young person who really wants to play basketball all the time, probably not going to hit it off. So we make sure that we're getting two folks who have similar interests and they are about the same energy level, and put them together and really create the framework for them to meet. So they start to build a relationship and build trust. And all of these mentoring relationships have a set of goals that the young person has created for themselves. And so the mentor is there to help that young person achieve the goals. And our staff are there to help coach that adult along the way. How do you show up for this person? How do you mentor them? We're not saviors. We're not doing things for our young people. We're empowering them to do things for themselves. Teach a man to fish is what's happening with mentoring.
Absolutely. And just like you mentioned, there's the support network in place, the training, the support on that side for the adults, for the big. And then there's the goals that you're matching up against for the little. And so talk about kind of the structure, the process, the time frame. Dive a little deeper into kind of those nuances that make it a success.
Absolutely. So it depends on the program. We have a lot of different programs within our organization that fit the interest and time commitment of just about any adult. For our most intensive mentoring program, the adult and the young person are the adult, the mentor is a big, and our young person, the mentee is the little. So the big and the little spend about an hour together a week in person. And let's say the young person has set a goal. These are some common goals that young people set for themselves. They want a better relationship with their family. They would like to improve their scholastic performance. And this is one that I really love. They want to try new things. So they want to explore their world and their bravery and try new things. So we have our staff are getting in contact with the mentor, the mentee, and the family member every week to make sure that the relationship is developing in a healthy and productive way, and help to navigate any road bumps that might come up, any questions that folks are having, and then really diving into, okay, a young person has set the goal that I want to try new things. I want to explore my bravery. Well, that's kind of abstract. How do you help them do that? And so our staff are there really with a mentor, like, let's create a plan. Let's start. We know what this young person likes to do. Let's say they like to run. So let's start with going to some new parks to go running. And then maybe we start by trying a different activity that occurs in a park. So let's say maybe we're going to play kickball. After that, maybe we're going to go to a sporting event. So we're getting out in a whole new area, and then we're going to go back. So we're going back and forth between observation and participation. So it's a slow and steady build, so that young person is having small wins along the way and gaining their confidence, and then more comfortable to go out and do the bigger stretch for them because they've been building up to that. And our staff are there really coaching and guiding and like, hey, you guys went and played kickball, brand new thing. This young person's never done that. How did that go? Was it too much? Was it not enough? Let's modify our plan from there.
You mentioned some of the different programs, or that you have different programs. So let's talk about some of the different programs, because you have community-based, site-based, you have e-mentoring, you have sports, you even have groups. So talk about the different mentoring components.
Absolutely. So glad you asked, Jeremy. So our community-based program, as I was just describing, is when the adult goes to the young person's home, picks them up, and they go out and do things in the community together. And they're meeting about once a week. With our Sports Buddies program, it's all centered around, as the name might intimate, sports, a shared love of sports. So our staff are creating sports-related activities every single weekend, and then twice a month, the adult and the young person show up together, and they participate in the activity together. It might be viewing a game, it might be playing lacrosse or pickleball, everybody's new favorite sport. And we've created time for those two to spend one-on-one to get to build their relationship. And there's some curriculum in there so that we're helping with goal achievement. With our site-based program, the adult goes to the school during the school year, the school day, and they're interacting one-on-one with their young person at the school. And then for our e-mentoring program, I'm actually a big in the e-mentoring program. I meet my little 3 or 4 times over the course of the school year, and the rest of the time we're interacting through a platform and a curriculum that my little is going through that's really based on future planning. So what do you want to do when you graduate from high school? And this program is for juniors and seniors in high school. What do you want to do when you graduate, and what are the steps you need to do to get prepared to do that? So as an example, we are just talking about resumes. How does one craft a resume? What information is contained in one? What's the purpose of a resume, and when do you need it? Really starting to build the understanding of what it's like in adult life when you're looking for and have a job, or you're pursuing a particular skill, craft, or profession. And we do have some other programs that are for young folks, as an example, called Big Cousins, and that is for our young people that are on our wait list. So we have young people who they themselves and their parents have enrolled them in their program. And while we are out searching for the perfect mentor for them, we're engaging them in activities. So they're learning, what is a mentor? How do you use a mentor? How do you find a mentor? So they're prepared when they step into that mentoring relationship.
Anyone who's been a mentor realizes that you get just as much, if not more, out of it than what you put in. And so it's powerful because you think as an adult, it's like, well, do I have something to share? I don't know. Or maybe I know I have something to share. And then you realize, and you're like, wow, I have so much to learn. And so the point is the relationship goes both ways. It's dynamic, it's enriching. You become a better leader, a better father, husband, wife, whatever, spouse. Like there's so much that you learn out of it, as much, if not more, than even the youth that you're working with. And so talk about both sides of the coin. Talk about the feedback you get from the adults, the bigs, and then talk about what this means to the littles and really does, shape their lives and trajectory for their future.
Jeremy, I might need to make you a spokesperson for Big Brothers Big Sisters, because you've really covered it beautifully. You're so spot on, and I'll share just a little bit about my experience with my little, who is from a different culture. And so I've learned so much about her country, her family, her beliefs, how she views the world, how she interacts with people, the things that are important to her. It has really expanded my understanding and my horizons. And I hear that from adults who serve as mentors as bigs all the time, that they've met somebody who they had a lot in common with, but they had very different backgrounds and they're very different people. And so they learned a lot about a new community. They learned a lot about what it was like to walk in another person's shoes. They learned a lot about themselves because they had things to give and guide that they didn't know that they had. They were uncovered through this relationship. And their little has made observations about them that has really, like, this is a way that you impacted me. And that has been really powerful for the mentor. And I'll also share, we do, as I referenced earlier, we do a lot of training for our bigs. And this is kind of emotional intelligence kind of training that really we should all incorporate into our life. It makes us a better, name it, right? It makes me a better wife, a better daughter, a better daughter-in-law, a better mother, a better friend, a better community member, a better leader, a better employee, to have these skills to regulate my emotions, to understand why I'm feeling the way that I am, to understand the biases that lead me to make decisions, and how I can address those biases and make better decisions. I mean, it's really empowering stuff, and that's exactly what the big does for the young person. And that's what I'm hearing from mentors. I mean, you think about just alone the power of an adult choosing to spend time with a young person. So I'm showing up in your life. I don't have to. I'm not your teacher. I'm not your coach. I'm not your mom. I'm not your sister. I am someone who has chosen to invest in you and spend time because I think you are worthy. I think you are valuable. I think you have talent and passion, and I want to help you achieve everything that you want to achieve in your life. That is powerful. Just the act of showing up and making the commitment. And then what I hear from littles too is how they also have learned about another community, another way of life that theretofore had been foreign to them. They're learning more about the world through another person. As we, for all of us, our world can be fairly contained, but particularly as a young person, when other people are making decisions about where you go and who you interact with and what you see, as they should, that's the role. But when you're meeting very different people and you've kind of had your social network expanded, it really expands your worldview. And the biggest value for our young people is exposure. It's just exposure to all the things that are out there that lie ahead of you. The world is really, to be kind of cheesy, it is our young person's oyster, but they need to know what's out there so that they can pursue it.
Yeah, absolutely. You have some big initiatives in terms of recruiting mentors and opening up the floodgates to get more people involved. And so go ahead and talk about some of the different ways the community can help your efforts.
Absolutely, Jeremy. I'm so glad you asked that. And I will share with you, right before this, I was a couple of minutes late, so thanks for your grace. I was speaking on a panel with some other nonprofit leaders, and somebody in the audience asked, what keeps you up at night? And what keeps me up at night is that our demand for mentors always outpaces our supply. So we always have young people desiring mentors sitting on our wait list while we're out recruiting volunteers to serve as their mentors. And that's the thing that keeps me up at night. And your listeners are the people that can help me sleep better. who can really step up and invest in these young people. So one of our big initiatives that we have, we are so thankful for a phenomenal partnership that we have built with the Titans, who believe strongly in our young people and investing them in the power of mentorship. And so they are hosting on the night of the NFL Big Draft, our very own Big Draft at Nissan Stadium. We are opening up our doors to the community to come learn about Big Brothers Big Sisters, our programs, and how they too could invest in the life of a young person. It's on April the 27th, and your listeners and viewers can learn more about it by visiting our website at mentorakid.org.
Yeah, I love the website because you make it very, very easy. A lot of these, are all initials and acronyms, and it's like, nope, you make it very, very easy. mentorakid.org. So very clear, very concise, and mission driven.
That's right. That's the action we want you to take. We want you to mentor a kid.
Give me one more thing that you wish everyone knew about Big Brothers Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee.
Oh, goodness. Here's one thing I wish everyone knew is that we have, and first, we are a community resource. This organization doesn't belong to me or the staff or the board. It belongs to the community. We've been here for 54 years. And our job while we're here is to leave it in the absolute best shape so that the next generation that follows us can take this powerful resource and use it for good in the community. And then the other thing I want everyone to know is that we are a professionally run organization. So we have professionals that are finding and supporting young people, who are recruiting and training and supporting our volunteers. And we have an incredibly passionate board of directors. All of these folks are investing their time and talent and treasure to really elevate our young people and empower them. We're a youth empowerment organization. And that's what we've been doing for 54 years. And I can't wait to see what we're going to do in the next 54 years.
Well, you never can say it enough on TV or radio. So where do we go again to learn more, to raise our hands and to get involved and be a big and to support your efforts?
mentorakid.org.
mentorakid.org. You make it easy, like we said. All right. So Melissa, thank you for all you and your amazing team do. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Jeremy. I appreciate what you and your team do.